Hi there. In my last video, I talked about how if you had 1,000 readers who were paying approximately $100 a year on your books and things like that, then you would make your $100,000 a year as an author. But of course, the most obvious question that we have to answer is, how do you actually get those first 1,000 readers? Because that is the part that can feel vague. And it's more like that sort of thing whereby you think it's like everybody else has got the secret playbook and you didn't get it and you don't know how to get it. But the thing is it's not a secret. There's no secret to any of this. And the better news is that it's very doable, especially if you approach it in stages. So let's start. On step one, you need to write a story that readers are actually looking for. Now, I know we always talk about the writing first, but there's a reason for that. You can actually spend a fortune on marketing, but if the book doesn't meet reader expectations, you won't keep your readers. And in building a sustainable business, retention is everything. Now, when I say write a good story, I'm not talking about reinventing the wheel. I mean a story that fits in the genre that it's supposed to be in, and a story that understands why readers picked up that genre in the first place. Genre readers are wonderfully loyal, but they're also very clear about what they want. Romance readers expect emotionally satisfying endings, that sweet kiss at the end and whatever else, because this is a family channel. But mystery readers expect a mystery that actually gets solved. Fantasy readers want a coherent world with rules that make sense. So if a reader gets to the end of your book and they think, yes, that delivered what I came here for, then you've done something very important. You have started earning that reader's trust, and that is vital. Now, this business about meeting genre and niche expectations, some people, especially authors, they get this idea that it's like it's selling out, but it actually isn't. When you're writing to fit genre expectations, it's not about losing your voice or your creativity. It's about understanding the conversation that you're joining. You see, every genre is basically a long-running conversation between writers and readers. Readers come in with certain hopes, certain emotional expectations, and there are certain deal breakers they will not allow. Now, once you understand that, you come along and you bring your own perspective, your own themes, and your own experiences, but you have to do it within a framework that readers recognize. That recognition is what helps readers feel comfortable about taking a chance on a new author. And while I do understand that for some people, writing their own way, doing their own thing is really important to them as an author and totally valid and justified, if you don't know where your story fits, then it's going to be really hard to find your readers. I may have to do another video on that at some point. But anyway, the next second step is that your book needs to, and this is probably going to sound funny, but your book needs to look like it belongs. Now, I'm sure you've seen, there's countless videos and advice about when you're doing a cover for your book, right? That if you go to your specific category niche on Amazon, for example, and pull up their top 100, you will see the covers, while all different and individual, all have certain themes. And the thing is that your cover, it's not your cover's job to be clever or artistic or to stand out. Well, yes, stand out, but it's meant to tell the reader looking in that genre that that book is for you. Readers make decisions on what they're buying really quickly, and they quite often don't even realize they're doing it. And if your cover doesn't match your genre or the vibe of your story, readers are either going to scroll past, or if they do buy the book and they have the wrong expectations of your stories because of that cover, they're going to get disappointed. And a disappointed reader is almost impossible to get back. That brings me on to editing and formatting, because I see, they are actually, there's been some differing discussions on how important that is. But the thing is with good editing, it's not about being perfect. It's about respecting the reader to put that effort in, and also make sure that the reader's not pulled out of your story. And one of the easiest ways to tech check that in your own work is to go back and reread your entire work. And you will feel it, because you've built a story with flow and it's flowing. And then suddenly there's something there like typos, confusing sentences, or even poor formatting. And all those little things, they add up and they signal something else to the reader, whether we like it or not. They signal how much care went into the book. Now, readers buying indie authors, they don't expect you to be a big publishing house, but they do expect a professional experience. And when they get that, they are far more likely to stick around and become one of your loyal readers. So respect your readers. Get your book edited. Make sure it looks like it's supposed to look. It doesn't have to be all fancy-dancy. It just has to look like a story so your reader can enjoy it. They can enjoy all the hard work that you've put in. Now, step 3, of course, is, letting people know your book exists. And I know marketing is, but the thing is that marketing isn't about shouting, buy my book, buy my book. It's about helping the right readers find it. If somebody, think about it like this. If somebody would genuinely enjoy your story, telling them it exists isn't rude. You're actually being helpful. But this is where you need to see that social media, because that's where we do most of our marketing, let's be real, but it's a discovery tool, not a sales page. And one of the biggest mistakes that authors make on social media is they treat it like a constant sales pitch. Every post is new release, buy my book, on sale now, blah, 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 blah. People just tune out. They don't care. Readers don't follow their authors just to be advertised to. They follow their authors because they're actually curious about that person behind the stories. And this is where showcasing yourself as a human being really comes in. Okay, and if you're not a human being, well, you still need to showcase yourself. Aliens, please drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Sorry. Why? Oh, yeah. It's the hot weather. That's what I'm blaming. Hot and stormy weather outside. Anyway, sharing the author behind the books. You don't need to share your entire life. You don't owe anyone access to your private world, but readers do enjoy a connection. They might like to know why you love the genre you write in. They might be interested in sharing a hobby that you enjoy outside of writing. I've talked about that before, where I quite often share my art and things like that, even though that's got nothing to do with my books. But it's something else that I do, and I invite conversation from some of my readers who think, oh, well, I do that sort of thing too, or, oh, I would like to try that, or, this sort of thing. It's connection. It's connection outside of the story, but it's also the person that wrote the story. For some of you, it might be more about life experience, and that's perhaps shaped how you see the world. Maybe that is relevant to your stories, and maybe that's something you want to share. There's no harm in that. Just make sure you're being careful and make sure you're being kind to yourself. But these things, these sorts of things, these personal posts, they help readers feel like they know you. And people are far more likely to support someone that they feel connected to. Don't overshare. It means being intentional. You get to choose what you share and what stays private because, hey, we all need a private life. Another thing that's probably, I don't think many people understand, is you don't actually need to go viral to get your first 1,000 readers. Being consistent beats virality. I'm getting the wrong viral here, but never mind. It's consistency beats it almost every time. If you show up regularly, even to a small audience, that is building familiarity. You've got to remember that someone might see your post for weeks or even months before they ever buy one of your books. But when they do, they often feel like they already know you. And because they feel familiar with you, it lowers the barrier to trying your work. So that's why you do it. And then, of course, we get to step 4, which is where we go from one reader to many readers. And you see, the thing is your first 1,000 readers rarely go one by one. You never really get them one by one through random discovery. What happens is that magical thing of word of mouth. Somebody's read one book and then they've bought another. And then somebody recommends your book to a friend. And then that friend recommends it to someone else. And then someone finishes a series and they want more, so they go looking for more. This is why having more than one book matters. And so building a backlist in the same genre is one of the most powerful tools an author has. When a reader finishes a book that they've loved and they realize there's more books that you've written that are just like that, you've made it really easy for them to stay with you. This is particularly effective if your books are in the same genre or niche, if they share a similar tone or emotional promise, and if they are clearly connected as a series or world. Now, obviously, you can't go building a backlist of dozens of books overnight. Yeah. But over time, a growing backlist compounds in a way that single books simply can't. For example, I've noticed with my books, my latest release is a standalone. So it doesn't have anything sort of like that readers can go back to. It was actually an expansion I did on a story for an anthology written back in 2015. That was that was an interesting writing exercise. But like, for example, my release for December 2025 was Apollo's story in the God series. There is already a stream of books in the God series. And I noticed that in that month, I see more sales of other God's books because of Apollo. Your newest book becomes a marketing vehicle for the books you've already written, particularly in that same series. So don't ever discount that, because that's really important. Publishing regularly is something else that's actually more important than it appears. And I'm not talking about rushing the process or burning yourself out. It means being realistic and being reliable, because remember, this is from a reader perspective. Readers don't need constant output all the time, blah, blah, blah. But they do appreciate knowing that you're still writing and that you're still invested in the world they've come to love. When readers trust that you're going to keep telling those stories, they're far more likely to stick around and keep supporting you in the long term. And another thing which does help with this, 1,000 readers spending $100 a year aspect is that some readers do want to do more than just buy books. They might be interested in things like early access to your work or bonus scenes or behind the scenes content and a way to directly support your work. And this is where platforms like Patreon or Ream can be really useful for that. You know, not every reader's going to join. Not every reader has the money in this economy. But there will be ones who do, who are often your most loyal supporters. And don't forget to always, if you have a Patreon, I don't know if you can do it or Ream or not because I don't have a Ream, but on Patreon, you've got the option to do a free tier. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of that and make sure a post or two every week is available for the free, your free members as well, because this helps keep them updated with your writing process and what you're doing. They don't have to see the behind the paywall content, but they do still have a way of keeping in touch with you. So don't undervalue that. Now, when I recently put a post on my Patreon a little while ago, and I was asking them about ways that they'd like to see more or do more, and a lot of people mentioned special editions or merch. Can I just say, first of all, if you're not an American author like me, because I live in New Zealand, those special editions and things like that are really expensive. So having that sort of investment, I would have to ask my readers for so much money. And I'm not comfortable about doing that in this economy. I know that there are some new authors who immediately jump into special editions and Kickstarters and all that sort of thing. But they aren't the sort of things you want to rush into, because when you think about it, they are basically a one-time income boost, but they also cost an awful lot in expenses. If you look at the return on your investment, I'd be really interested to see an author that's done that. So if that's, you know, if you're watching this and you've done that, I would love to know what sort of return on investment that you got. But I do know, being outside of the States, most of my readers are in the States. So even sending books to them is really expensive when it comes to tariffs and just the shipping cost. So all those sorts of things are all very well and good. And yeah, you know, I wouldn't mind having a special edition of at least one of my books or series, but yeah, they're not something you need to rush into. I don't really think that they help with author retention, with reader retention, because the thing is if you do that and then you let them down because things happen in the publishing process and the printing process and the, you know, actually getting the goods to you. Yeah, I have seen numerous YouTube videos on authors who have not delivered. And, you know, when you've done that more than a couple of times, it's about time to hang up your shingle and turn around and write something else under a completely different name. But merch is fine if you can, you know, there are print-on-demand companies and what have you that do merch and things like that. But realistically, they are not, they are not a high-profit item. Your stories is what's going to keep your readers coming back to you, not a merch drop. So just keep that in mind. You see, retention is the real goal here. Getting your first 1,000 readers isn't about convincing 1,000 strangers to buy a single book. It's about writing stories that readers love. It's about making it easier for them to find more. It's about showing up consistently. And most importantly, it's about treating your readers like the people that they are and respecting them, not about numbers. So just remember, though, this might have been a lot, but you don't have to do it all at once. Start with a good book that's been presented well in a clear genre and shared consistently, and build up from there. Those first 1,000 readers aren't waiting for perfection. They're looking for a story that makes them feel something and an author they can trust to keep those stories coming. And that is something you can absolutely build one step at a time. So, did this video help you? If it did, please let me know in the comments. I answer every comment, and if you're working towards your first, towards your first 1,000 readers, then where are you on that journey, and can I help? I post long form contents on Mondays and Thursdays relating to writers, and on Sundays I do chapter readings for my work, which is more for my readers, but of course they're for anybody. Anybody can listen to them. It's basically I'm trying to help boost my watch hours. I'm going to get this channel monetized if I can. So yeah, there is that. But anyway, in the meantime, please hit the like and subscribe button. There, I did it. I actually remembered to say it this time. And please, yes, drop your comments below. Always happy to answer. Got questions? Let me know. Got a video idea? Let me know. How are you getting on in 2026? As you're seeing this, you'll probably be seeing this in February. Have you, is your new book started? Are you getting there? Are you, moving towards your goals? What are some of the hiccups you've had along the way? And again, how can I help? I always want to know. But in the meantime, until next time, please keep writing, my friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.